Buffalo Bills. They promoted their offensive coordinator. He's now a head coach. How do you feel about this, Riv?
I felt okay about it. Like I think Joe Brady's done a really good job, given that he doesn't have a wide receiver one. Given that he's kind of in a way elevated James Cook as a top running back in this league. He keeps Josh Allen at bay, which means he doesn't let Josh get loose. You know, sometimes he does, but he keeps him kind of in check, and I think that's important for a guy who loves to just sling it and say, fuck it, I'm here. I think he's also a contributor to Dalton Kincaid's success, you know, kind of making him a premier guy in the offense. Offensive line's amazing. I think to go from offensive coordinator to now running the jumping on the field, like Joe Brady was in the box. So now to go from the box to down on the field as the coach, kind of calling these decisions, making these plays, it's going to be interesting. I'm excited for it because I do think Joe Brady and Josh Allen are really good together. I think also him and James Cook. But I don't think it matters who the coach is if you don't get a wide receiver. I think like all that shit doesn't matter if you don't get a wide receiver, if you don't build up this defense. This defense is old. Like I know we look at the passing numbers, shit was cute. You have Greg Rousseau, Ed Oliver, who can't consistently create pressure, who can't consistently wreck a game. Matt Milano was hurt every single year. You know, I think Joey
Trey White
Bosa
was cornerback too.
He was good, but like, dude, you can't rely on Trey White at 35 years old. You know what I'm saying? Christian Benford's good. Teron Johnson's good, but they're always injured. You know, so like I think this is a team that kind of has to rebuild their defense up a little bit again. You know, they drafted a couple good guys like Deion Walker and stuff. Terrell Bernard was good, but I think
Harrison got hurt too.
Yeah, Harrison did get hurt. So like, I'm just Joe Brady is fine. I'm just very weirded out that Sean left and Brandon Beane did not leave. I'm still very confused about that. This is a guy who hasn't hit on the draft in like 4 years. But Joe Brady's a good guy. I like his plays. I like him and Josh Allen's connection.
Now, this is interesting. They didn't fire Beane, and they stayed in-house.
Josh has been in every meeting, though. So that's a good sign.
So interesting.
This is Josh's. He's the GMing right now.
He is legit.
Josh Allen's got
But
strings.
I do think it's interesting because they're doing something that we have asked other organizations to do.
Yeah.
Stay in-house if you think you have one of those guys. Bills think they have one of those guys.
But now you need a DC.
Somebody tweeted, it was hilarious.
Jim Leonard
If they get Jim Leonard, they got it.
They're cooking, bro. I'm sorry. They're doing their thing. If they get
Is Brady going to be OC and the head coach?
He'll be calling plays.
He'll be calling both?
Jim Leonard is an awesome Jet.
And that is a Jet legend.
He was awesome, dude.
I'm fine with Joe Brady calling plays, man.
How did he wear?
36?
Facts.
Yeah.
Got it.
Why are you questioning? Why are you so excited to talk about the Jets? You're not a Jets
Nah,
fan.
that was
that
when
point
he
in
was,
time, I
that
was.
was his
The
peak
36,
Jet fan.
34.
Yeah,
you know.
that's the
You
best
gotta
years
let
of my
that
life.
Was it really?
Yeah,
He
some
was
of them.
safety, right?
Yeah.
He was on special teams a
Yeah.
lot too, no?
Probably he's white.
Fair point.
He was so quick.
36.
I like this hire a lot. I'm only skeptical because a lot of coaches turned down their interview. Was it because they turned it down because they knew that Brady was always going to be the guy and they were like, let me not waste my time? Or was it that they didn't like Beane? Did they not like something about the situation? Were they concerned about contracts and the quarterback getting paid? Like, what? A lot of things are drawing my skepticism. Nevertheless, Brady has been nothing but a positive to this offense. We've seen Josh reach new levels of his game, be a lot more careful with the ball, be more explosive, very, very meticulous. Obviously not versus the Broncos. We kind of saw him revert back to his old self, but he still had his moments of being really good. So I'm wondering what's wrong with the Bills? Where's the poop?
They don't have a wide receiver.
You know what I mean?
Or two.
So is it Beane? Is Beane the poop?
Did you see Beane's interview?
With the owner.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
you see it?
No.
It wasn't good.
Dude, it was bad.
That was where all the Keon Coleman stuff came out.
It was awful.
I'm a bit
Oh,
torn.
I did see that. See that.
Bad.
Yeah. I'm a bit torn because at first I was like, I don't get the hire. And I still kind of don't because what you heard from that meeting was the owner and GM saying we hit a playoff wall and you promoted the GM and you promoted the coordinator who I'm sure is going to keep a lot of like the same coaches and assistants. So it's like, still like a lot of the same guys running the show and guys in the front office. I think part of the reason why the Bills job was looked a little skeptical was because of Brandon Beane, just his inability to draft well. But on the other hand, if you get Jim Leonard, I'm definitely more in. Jim Leonard is probably the number one defensive coordinator candidate on the market, has been all season long. He's been for multiple years now, realistically. He's just stayed with Denver, probably waiting for an opportunity like this one where you have stability and you have a team that can win a Super Bowl as soon as next season. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if he went to Buffalo. I really don't know what he'd be waiting for other than a head coaching job. He doesn't take the Buffalo job unless he just thinks that the talent is there, because Sean McDermott does just like specific kinds of players, typically smaller, faster players. Maybe Leonard likes bigger, physical. Either way, if they get Jim Leonard, I'm definitely moved by this. Buffalo is also in a weird spot because you fired Sean McDermott a week ago, and a lot of these other coaches already got snatched up. Jesse Minter being one of them, who I'm sure would have been high on their board. They didn't interview Clint Kubiak. They still had a chance to interview Jesse Minter. They didn't even ask for an interview. They might have just known that he was going to Baltimore already. So in terms of like candidates available, Joe Brady was still one of the best ones, right? Like, if you want to go the defense route, Chris Shula is a potential. You did get a report from a Steelers beat reporter saying that, like, he just completely botched the Steelers interview, which maybe that's the organization trying to save face because you saw how terrible it went over from the fans by hiring Mike McCarthy, Brian Flores being an option too. But realistically, where we sit now, we're like, it's, 2-3 weeks past the regular season being done. Coaches have been hired already. Joe Brady's probably one of the better options. So it's, I think with the situation they were dealt with, firing McDermott later into the postseason, it's okay. I do think Joe Brady, like you mentioned, Riv, and you too, Drew, you're putting up top offenses every year. I think a lot of that has to do with Josh Allen, even though Joe Brady has had success in different parts of his career. But it really comes down to, if they get Jim Leonard, I'm cool with it. If they don't, and it's someone a bit more unproven or not as highly regarded, I have some more questions. Because I think Sean McDermott did a good job, and this is probably one of his better player performances.
So Jim Leonard is the make or break here.
The Bills,
have to draft
the
well,
Bills
man.
from 2020, 2024 have been top 5 in turnovers every single year, and top 3 in turnovers in some of those years too. So this defense creates, havoc and more opportunities for Josh Allen to get the ball, haven't been able to get over the hump. So yeah, it sounds kind of funny, but like, that's how I think of Jim Leonard. I think he's to be a defensive coordinator for a year or two, and he's probably gonna get head coaching jobs.
Sean McDermott was scapegoated. That's what this is. The GM got promoted, the offensive coordinator got promoted, and you got demoted. And this wasn't the year that Sean McDermott was at fault. His defense played well for the most part. The defense overperformed expectations all year long. The Bills didn't get over the hump, and ownership probably saw that final fourth quarter drive, and it gave him flashbacks of every other time Sean McDermott has been the head coach and they can't get a stop defensively. And his emotions stepped in and said, I don't think the GM's a problem. I don't think the coordinator's a problem. I don't think these assistant coaches are the problem. I think you're the problem. And now the Bills are in a new era. And I think Joe Brady's fantastic. I think Joe Brady is one of the young offensive minds. He was going to get a head coaching job soon. And over the last 2 seasons, the Bills have been third and then second in EPA per play. They have an elite offense. Their run game has took off with Joe Brady, and a lot of that has to do with the offensive line. Brandon Beane, he has hit on his offensive lineman, which has created a nice foundation for Buffalo. But now Joe Brady has more pull in these draft rooms. He has more influence in the building. Players that fit his system better, he can get them. He can be more of a talent evaluator and add to this team. And you're keeping continuity. The offense isn't the problem. I know the turnovers were, but the offense has not been the problem. And Joe Brady has had a big part in the offense being successful. So keep the offensive guy. We were saying the Buccaneers probably should have kept Liam Cohen over Todd Bowles, this past offseason. And although nobody said it in the middle of the year, when we see how these two teams went different pathways, we're saying the Jaguars got the better coach. And this is just the Bills thinking McDermott's the problem and thinking that Joe Brady could be that young offensive solution for them long term.
Yes and no. I think, I don't think he's the problem. And I get it. People are going to say like, oh, his defense gives up all these points, this, that, and the third. I really feel like McDermott, especially in the regular season, was able to put up some really good defenses and got a lot of his guys, especially when he was walking in games where 10 or 15 of his players were injured. And, he had to just trot out the 4th or 5th best corner and defensive line. Like, he really did more with less, I feel like, in the regular season. And he kept the stability. I just think it was a kind of like how Golden State had Mark Jackson, they needed Steve Kerr. I think it was just it gets to a point where you've kind of just reached your breaking point with somebody.
Wrong year, though. Wrong year.
I feel like, what, you going to wait another year? And then what if
Do it
Brady
last year.
Yes, you could have did it last year, but I don't see the difference in last year and this year.
Last year's defense was worse.
Well, last year you had Ben Johnson and you had Liam Cohen. There are better candidates.
I don't think you were going to go get them, though.
Joe Brady.
Ben, I feel like Ben was already locked into Chicago.
Ben would have seen the idea. Whoa, Josh Allen? Maybe.
Yeah,
I think he
but
definitely would have been
Caleb,
interested.
Roman Dunze, like,
No, trust
it
me.
was
The
a little
Bears,
bit more
the
over
Bears'
there,
destination was very attractive.
NFC,
A lot going. But the Bills have just needed the extra bump.
But if you, because I feel like now that we know that they weren't going to fire Brandon Beane, was Ben Johnson going to take this job
That's-
knowing
see,
Beane?
that's a better point.
He took a job where GM was already in place. Ryan Poles was not viewed highly before this season. He's had his fair share of
Brandon
misses.
Beane bad though?
Brandon Beane has not been awful. Like the players that
Poles kind of cooking.
the players that they have drafted, yeah, sure, they haven't been Pro Bowlers, but they've been contributors.
Yeah, he hasn't gotten, I don't think, a lot of difference makers.
Like Christian
I think that's
Benford was his
argument.
draft pick.
Yeah, I think the argument, and it's difficult because they're always picking at the end of the first round, is that you haven't gotten that star edge rusher or that star receiver or, whoever it might be. He's gotten contributors. He's gotten good guys that have stepped in and been solid.
Let's see.
But I think that's the bigger issue is just, you see teams across the leagues like, and it's not fair. But like
I didn't
the
want
Rams
Keon
got
Coleman was
Puka,
nuts.
the Seahawks got Nicky
Yeah.
Memori.
That was the owner being impulsive and honestly doing something.
Okay,
he
so
shouldn't have
Ed
done.
Oliver, 2019 Ed Oliver, solid. Cody Ford, I don't even know if he plays anymore. Singletary, Dawson Knox, cool.
one of the Pro Bowlers. who drafted.
Fosine Joseph, these are all irrelevant. 2020 AJ Spinenza, round
Good
2.
role player.
Okay, Zach
No,
Moss,
that's what he is. Yeah,
Gabe Davis,
I mean that's a solid pick. If they had him,
Tyler Bass,
that's a good pick.
2024.
I mean, Gabe Davis in the 4th round is pretty good.
That's a
value.
solid value.
2024 Keon Coleman,
Was Joe Brady one of the
Cole
coaches
Bishop.
that vouched for Keon Coleman?
Dwayne Carter. Yeah, dude. First of all, Dawson Knox making a Pro Bowl. I don't know how he got in.
Dawson
Wait,
Knox
what's-
is underrated.
He's
What's
solid.
2024
Oh,
or
I'm sorry.
2025? You read all the names. Deion Walker's not bad.
2024 is Keon Coleman, Cole Bishop, Dwayne Carter, Ray Davis, Cedric, Edefon Alafoshio, Javon Solomon, Tyler Grable, Daquan Hardy.
Yeah, that's a bad draft.
2023, Kincaid, Osiris Torrance, Dorian
That's
Williams.
a guard, starting guard for them.
He's started. He's all right.
Florida Gator.
But he's a starter for them.
Yeah, he's all right though. Dorian Williams, Justin Shorter, Nick Broker, Alex Austin, 2021, Greg Russo, Boogie Basham, Spencer Brown, Tommy Doyle. Like,
Listen, drafting's hard.
drafting is hard.
It's hard.
2022, Elam. Wow.
That's a mess.
What a mess.
Even then, though, bro, like,
Stop
bad drafts, yes,
James Cook?
but
This was his best draft.
the Bills
2022.
in all those years had chances and were favored to win and go to
For
the
sure.
championship.
But it's like, how
go to
much
Super
of that
Bowl.
is just
That's
because you
more
have Josh
Josh
Allen?
It's a lot of Josh
Like if Brandon
Allen.
Beane, and obviously you could do this
Like,
with
look,
every organization.
2022, he fried. Like, he had Cook after Elam. Cook, Bernard, Khalil Shakir, Christian Benford.
Yeah.
Like, this is his year.
It's elite draft.
Yeah, like this right here, he did his thing.
And when you have a draft like that, you get some leeway. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, it was
you got to
after-
make, like, if he has another bad draft, I think, like, now you got to ask the hard questions.
After he got promoted?
yeah. for
I
real.
just don't think he's done enough to warrant his leash.
No.
That's my thing, you know? But, hey, listen.
He also has some weird quotes. I don't know if it was this past trade deadline or the one previous, but he was basically complaining how young GMs want to trade so much around the trade deadline, and he was kind of poo-pooing it, saying like, why are we doing this? He's also said some interesting things about like not wanting to go out and get a receiver. I don't know. There's things that just make me think he's a little behind the curve.
Yeah, he could have gotten Jacoby Myers. You know, he could have been more aggressive, and that's why I don't know. I think Brandon Beane, him getting promoted is crazy. just simply talking about like Joe Brady, though, I'm on board with Joe Brady. Joe Brady gets my stamp of approval. I really like Joe Brady.
Me too.
And I feel like he's going to have success with Josh Allen. And you get a good defense coordinator, you get a good draft. I mean, you're right back in it. You know, they barely lost to Denver.
Even if they don't, they're still in it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
But this offseason is going to be big for them because they have two starters on the offensive line, Connor McGovern and David Edwards. They're both free agents. Those are going to be big fills, big holes if they don't bring them back.